what you do.
Yeah. Initially. I think when someone comes in who is unwell and they may have some problem, I don't just address the problem. I have to say, well, let's change the way you eat. Let's work on healing the gut first. Then let's see what's left over. So you got to peel the onion skin a little bit to find out what's actually left over. What's really the problem? And then after going through that, at the end you can see, oh, actually most everything's been fixed already. But maybe there might be something a little bit left over, and then I deal with that more specifically, which is more than changing food or through different herbal things or different types of fasting, and so that comes after. But for the most part, if someone is vigilant and stays through the program, will come out on the other side even more aware of how their body feels and what they should and shouldn't be doing. And then they're already like, oh, I actually feel better. I'm no longer having migraines, or my joints no longer hurt. I can't give a quick fix when they come in and say, oh, I have arthritis. What do you want to give me for it? I'm like, I'm not gonna give you anything for that. We're gonna first start with healing the body, lowering the chronic inflammation, and then we'll see what is actually still a problem here, and what other steps can we take to make that better.
Okay. So you mentioned gut first. So why would you start there?
Why would you start with the gut? Oh my goodness. How long is this interview? No. So the gut, as you probably know, about 80% of the immune system is in the gut. Disease comes from, I believe, your immune system struggling in your body with being able to repair and to heal and to stay healthy from everything from brain fog to arthritis. It's all kind of interconnected. We're all one body. And so when you start to feed the body good things, you're going to take out the bacteria in there that is harmful, and you're going to replace it with bacteria that's good, which is part of the immune system, that then you can start functioning and doing its job. Other parts of it would include some level of fasting, so that there's the appropriate cell death and regeneration for healing in the body. That's also part of the gut health. I do focus a lot on food elimination, so we start with very gently cooked food, so not burnt, not fried, that are already almost pre-digested, so like fermented foods, and even like grass-fed beef or something. That sounds like, oh, that doesn't sound like a super healthy food. But if you understand the cow itself, they have a couple stomachs, and when the food is digested through those stomachs, you're ending up with a pre-digested food basically when you eat the meat. And so it's actually very gentle on your body, and you're getting all the nutrients from whatever the cow has eaten. It should be eating good food like grass, so you're getting all of that nutrients in there. And so you're not putting anything in your body that's going to cause damage then to your gut lining. When you cause damage to your gut lining, it destroys the part of the intestines that absorb nutrients. And so when the food, even good food, goes in, if you've destroyed the part of that that's supposed to absorb nutrients, you're not getting any nutrients. So until there's healing, if you eat good food, it's not going to do a whole lot of good. Or if you take supplements, like, oh, I take my daily vitamin, it's not actually going into your body because your gut is damaged and is unable to absorb those nutrients into your body. So you have to start there. I think you have to start there to take the next step into health, into fitness, into all of that. Ground zero.
That's right. Yeah, definitely my experience as well. Even just doing neurofeedback, I find that the clients who are willing to address their digestion do a lot better. Their neurofeedback, their gains is they can have more gains and also better maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's definitely huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then that's also most people's problem nowadays,
Right.
Right? Because just our dietary practices, probably also stress, things like that.
Sure.
Also.
Yeah.
So in your experience, what have you seen as to be something that is very commonly practiced that is quite damaging to most people?
Oh, hands down is processed foods.
Okay.
Yeah. Processed foods. 7-Eleven. Their tea eggs are good. Processed foods, 100%.
Okay.
So my focus is traditional foods, you could call it, where you're kind of going back to how our ancestors ate, how they preserved food, how they cooked it, how they ate it. Yeah. You know, we look back, we're like, oh, we're living longer, we're doing all these things, and it's just not true. The data doesn't support that.
Yeah.
And there are cultures in the world that do live over 100, often.
Yeah.
And they're fishing and hunting and gathering and eating, and they don't have tech, and they're focused on family. You know, they're lowering their stress. But by far, it is the quick processed foods. Sugar. I think people don't realize how much sugar they're having in a day. If you can imagine, you know, you even go and buy a box of juice in 7-Eleven. Think, oh, it's vitamin C, and you don't realize there is as much sugar in there as a can of pop.
Yeah.
So you're not you're like, well, it's better than pop. I'm like, not really. Like, if you're having that much sugar, it's pretty damaging to your gut, to your body, to all of that. We shouldn't just be burning sugar in our bodies. We should be using fat as the source of our energy.
Okay, so processed food.
Yes.
Sugar.
And I know you could throw in like wheat and dairy, but it's a very specific kind of wheat and a very specific kind of dairy. If you have dairy, having raw dairy is superior by far.
It's kind of hard to get.
Very impossible to get. But there's an enzyme in there that helps our body digest the protein. That when it's cooked out of it, you don't have it. So there's a lot of lactose intolerance, I believe, because the enzyme is missing. We should be drinking that with enzyme. But then you can go hard cheeses and kefir and yogurt and things like that, where that culture in there eats up that lactose, and so you end up with a better product that actually helps to feed your gut, like your good bacteria in your body. So there's even health benefits to that. But main, like the processed cheese, the slices that you that's not even food. Like, don't eat that. That's not even cheese. I don't even know what that is. It's probably like oils and vegetables and stuff. And then wheat is, I'm sure people have heard with the gluten in wheat is harmful. And again, sourdough bread, traditional wheat grains, all of that is going to make a huge difference whether you can eat or not. Say, well, people have been eating bread since the beginning of time, and while that's true, our bread looks very different now than it did 200 years ago. It's not the same bread. It's not the same thing. So I know that there's a few places that have good traditional sourdough fermented bread, but it's harder to find. So make it yourself, I guess, is a good start.
Yeah, I definitely know. I mean, because when we pick what kind of flour to use in our bread, that makes a big difference as well. Yeah. I
don't know all the names of it, but yeah, my husband is pretty gluten intolerant, and he can eat the French flour, no problem. And I know it does have gluten in it, so I don't know enough about it to know why the difference is so great, but I do know he can, and that's what he cares about.
We end up choosing French because in Taiwan there's a lot of bread flour. They said it's for French bread, but that's more to make the style instead of French style bread, not so much flour from France. So we end up picking flours from France because we know that a couple of things. One is I think their wheat species is actually a little bit different. And the other one is that their glyphosate standards are much more stringent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in Taiwan, usually they either import grain and then they mill them.
Yeah.
So it depends on where the wheat is coming from. Like if it's from U.S., from China, the glyphosate contamination is very high. So that usually will trigger reactions.
Oh, interesting. A little combo of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had also the preservatives added and all that as well for the store.
Flour have conditioners added.
Yeah.
Yeah. Too.
And then what about, do they add, do you know, like bromine in the flour in Taiwan? Do you know?
Probably, a lot of places use a variety actually conditioners. Depending on what type of bread do you want. The Japanese is very soft. Do you want it to rise a certain way?
Okay.
Yeah, so they add all kinds of conditioners according to the type of bread that you want to make. Yeah, so we try to avoid that.
Yeah, just avoid that. Yeah. Buy good flour, use your ingredients.
And then, you grow your own yeast to ferment it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to learn one day. I make sauerkraut and I make kefir and yogurt and all that, but I have not learned the art of sourdough yet.
Yeah, it's pretty time consuming.
Yeah.
It's so long.
Yeah.
Okay, so gut health, and then take out some of these harmful processed foods, added sugar. What about fats?
Real fats, good fats, non-processed, not processed. I say, and you eat anything, like if you just want one rule, like don't tell me what I can and can't eat, just give me one rule, is eat food in its original form. The end. Okay. That's it. So fat is naturally formed from animals, so like tallow and other, like the goose fat is also pretty good. But anything that's just you don't have to go through a process to get the fat. Coconut oil is also, you don't have to go through a process to get, you just I guess anyway, the traditional way to make it is they just cut the coconut up and then they soak it overnight and the fat comes to the top. I know avocados is pretty natural. It's just centrifuged, it's just spun and the oil comes out. But if you're talking about canola oil, if you went to a canola oil plant and you watched how the oil was made, you would never eat it. The body doesn't see it as food. It's highly inflammatory. You can't digest it. I think that it's a huge contributor to a lot of health problems. So when you go to eat out, you can pick, well, I'm just going to eat some vegetables and I'm just going to eat the chicken or something, but they've just cooked that in vegetable oil. So, oh man, you just, how do you do it? You have to do your best. You have to do your best. And I think when in places you can control the food, eat the most of that. And if you have to go out, your body, if it's healthy, can manage that a little bit easier. But if that's all you're doing, you will start falling apart. There's just no way around it. So palm oil is a pretty natural process as well. Did I forget any of them? I think that might be all of them. Olive oil. Yep, olive oil. Yeah, that's a good one too. I don't cook with olive oil. It has a lower heat temperature. Some people would say yes, some people say no. I just don't do it. I mostly cook with animal fat and coconut oil. So when you cook like crock pot, some lamb or something, then there's a nice fat comes off the top. You scrape that off and save it to the side, and it makes any vegetable taste amazing.
We do that with lard. Pig oil. So that fat is huge. Your brain is 25% cholesterol. It needs fat. When you don't eat fat, your body will make it, but it has to work very hard to make it. As especially challenging for your liver when you're not eating enough fat, because your liver has to work really hard to make it for you. So I say just give your body some extra love and don't stress it out. Give it some fat. You need it for your skin, your joints, your cell integrity, your brain. All of those things need good, real fat that is made, that is formed naturally. That was
taken away from us, and we got to get it back. Stop the vegetable oils.
Or the low-fat foods.
Low-fat foods are all high in sugar. We've been ingrained, I think from the 80s really was a big, huge go fat-free, and they're eating candy that's advertised as fat-free, as if that's going to be good for you. It's so detrimental to the body.
I remember there was a time, maybe when I was still back in the States, and then it's all the low-fat stuff, so we're like eating egg white omelets. Now thinking back,
no flavor.
Why would we do that?
Why would you do
throw
that?
Away the best stuff.
I know. I know there's such a fear in cholesterol, and not realizing that the cholesterol is not actually the problem. And it's cool to see right now. I've been reading some medical journals recently where it's starting to surface, that's starting to surface that, this isn't a problem. But it's been since, it's really pushed since the 1950s that fat causes heart disease and all these other problems. And they're realizing it's just not true. Simply put, it's just not true.